Well, let's talk more about the closure of Apple Daily and talk to the contributor Benedict Rogers, who worked as a journalist in Hong Kong and now runs Hong Kong Watch from here in London. Ben, thank you very much for joining us. What are your thoughts as you hear this news?
It's absolutely devastating and actually rather heartbreaking news. It is not just the end of the only pro-democracy newspaper, certainly Chinese language pro-democracy newspaper in Hong Kong, but it's really the death of media freedom. And I think that we need to be prepared in the months to come to see the other remaining smaller pro-democracy outlets who are critical of the regime potentially affected as well.
We're just hearing more about the reasoning behind it. Apple Daily saying its decision is based on employee safety and manpower considerations, as well as the prevailing circumstances in the city.
That's right. I mean, we've seen now several arrests. We've seen over the last couple of years the climate for journalists become increasingly dangerous. Police brutality against journalists during the protests in 2019 and intimidation since. So Apple Daily's explanation and decision is very understandable in the circumstances, particularly when their assets have been frozen and even though they have the money, they don't. This isn't an issue of the company running out of resources or not having subscribers. They have plenty of support, but their assets are frozen. They can't pay the staff.
When you saw the raid that took place on Apple Daily's offices on Thursday last week, hundreds of officers, up to 500, as well as arrests of senior figures in the newspaper. What did you make of the reasoning that the authorities gave? They said that Apple Daily had been publishing dozens of articles calling on countries to impose sanctions on Hong Kong and China.
Well, my concern about this explanation by the government is, I mean, first of all, newspapers should have the right to publish opinions, and even though the issue of sanctions is clearly now a breach of the national security law, the national security law itself has destroyed Hong Kong's basic freedoms of expression and other freedoms. But one of my particular concerns is that, to my knowledge, and I may be wrong on this, but to my knowledge, it's very likely most of those articles were published before the national security law. I know from my own experience that I wrote one article after the national security law where I had a paragraph advocating sanctions, and I was actually asked by the Apple Daily to take out that paragraph because they said it breaches the national security law and it will get us into trouble. So if that's the case, that this law is being applied retrospectively, then that's even more alarming.
OK, Benedict Rogers, we appreciate you talking to us as that news comes out. But Apple Daily, its last print and digital editions coming out this week. Benedict Rogers, thank you.